I love this country to bits. Actually, I think when God was done creating the world, on the 7th day he came and rested in Rwanda. Everything is nice. However, I noticed something very interesting. For example, there are some things that I found quite interesting. For example, the guy who came to pick me at the airport yesterday, the guy had one of the longest names. The guy walked up to me and said, "Hello, are you Pablo?" I said, "Yes." "Ah, my name is Senderi International Hit." Russia. I was like, "Is that a name or a poem?" He said, "No, that's my name." I said, "Is that the only name?" He said, it depends on what is trending." I'm like, wow. I think I found him quite interesting because everything about him was colorful. Even his car, for the first time I drove in a pink car. And what I found quite interesting, he also has a sense of humor. Because while we were driving, there was something happening in Uganda. And so he was driving and the policeman stopped him and said, "Dude, you're not supposed to be driving. Why aren't you participating in the Uganda?" He said, "I'm participating. Can't you see I've just picked Uganda from the airport?" I'm like, okay. Only things that happen only in Africa, not so. You only find these things in Africa. Actually, I'm proud of being African. There are things we do, especially in Rwanda and Uganda. If you don't know, Rwanda and Uganda were named among the top hospitable countries in the world. Because we are friendly, you know, we love people. A Ugandan, I don't know about you, but a Ugandan will help you even when they don't know why they're helping you. But they will get out of their way to help you. One time I was at our National Theatre, and I was suffering from what to do. So, I saw a guy walking. Now this guy was walking, everything about him showed that he was a pensioner. You know a pensioner? These guys were, you know, their life entirely depends on remembrance. I remember when I used to stay there, and he was holding a bag, you know, oversized coat, and he was walking. So, out of the blue, I asked him, "Excuse me, sir, where is the museum?" He stopped. "Museum, museum, let me see. Museum, I said, "Let me ask." He's the one who went and asked a motorbike rider, "Excuse me, sir, we are looking for the museum." Now it is we. We are looking for the museum. The rider guy said, didn't they say it? Museum is right in that museum. But I suspect it is somewhere. You sit on the bike and we go. Now the three of us on one bike. The guy took us straight to the police. He said, "Let's ask here at the Central Police Station." And he asked the soldier he found there, "Excuse me, sir, we are looking for the museum." And I said, "Hey, museum, is he a suspect? When did they bring him?" Just now by the time we were done, there was a peculiar crowd and we were all discussing football. Somehow the things had ended. I even don't know where the other guy went. But you know, it's all fun, it's all good. And there are things I noticed that we Africans are not meant to do. Okay, World Cup, that one, I think it's witchcraft. But there are things that Africans will not do. For example, you won't find an African reporting in a war zone. Why? With all the challenges we have. Our life expectancy, I think, is at 54 or 60. And then you tell me to report the war zone area. As we report things like sports, the weather, commentary, you know, they are risk-free. I've never understood why people from the Western world, no offense intended, they like where there's danger. I'll give you an example. Do you know that if a bomb went off now, I would be the first outside and I'll ask after what happened. But a person from the Western world, if a bomb goes, what's that? They are looking for the danger. As we first run, then we ask. You know, even when they steal their wallet, you go like, wow, that was fast. You steal mine and you see, I will follow you. You watch CNN, watch CNN, Al Jazeera, Fox, guys who, you'll see the Africans reporting the weather, but you will never see a black reporter in Baghdad or Syria. On CNN, you find Christian Amalco reporting in Syria. There's one time I was watching her reporting in Syria. I was like, right now in Syria, the fire, everything's on fire. Other guys are running, going this other side. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. But then they are going where these guys are coming from. I'm like, you guys are running. Right now, we're going to fire. Then a bomb went off. Boom! The camera went down. And then Ahmad walked and said, that was a bomb. Let's go and check out who did that. We go and check out who did that bubble on me. With that, I will live with immediate effect. I can't report such stuff. Then there's this stuff, I think it's on Nat Geo Wild, or where these guys report about strange animals. Nat Geo Wild, I think that's it. National Geographic, whatever it is. Now, this guy was reporting about a snake. And I don't know why they love details. A snake is a snake, not so. The guy gave us details about the snake. He talked about its classification. You see, it is 25 centimeters long, and then its eyesight can see 6 kilometers. The snake is left-handed. They gave us details about the snake. But you see, at the end, the guy said, and this snake, when it bites you, in 3 minutes, you're dead. Come on, let's touch it! Imagine it's me probably reporting about that snake. First of all, my body language will change. My face will form character. You will see fear and trembling. It will be something like, members. The snake. There is a snake, mama. If the snake bites you, in 3 minutes, 3 minutes, you're dead. It is there. I can't get closer to death. American people, I respect them. I wish I had that confidence. I wish I had that confidence. You know, everything about them, you know, even when they are reporting about situations, I think there's something African that likes, you know, being dramatic. We believe in, you know, you want to tell the situation as if you are there. Have you seen an African reporting an accident? Or reporting some criminal offense? I'll give you an example. One time, there was a murder. They had killed somebody. And this gentleman was reporting on CNN. A body was found, and the police said they found 20 bullets in the body. Let's cross over and find out from the witnesses. There was a white guy and a black guy. They started with the white guy, said, here, the body was here, and we suspect maybe it was a feud, the fought, and well, the police is doing an investigation. We're going to find out what's wrong. All right, let's find out from I think it was either Nigeria or from West Africa. Let's find out what happened. Ha! The bullet, it had 20 bullets. We suspect he is dead. But, honestly speaking, when I looked at this man, I was thoughtless. And then I thought to myself, is it a murder or assassination? But the police is investigating. They will tell us what killed him. I'm like, is it very dramatic? I come from a very big family. We are 22 minus dependents. 22. One time I asked my mom, did you have to have all these children? She said it's family planning. I asked her what kind of family planning method is that? And she told me you can't get pregnant when you're pregnant. I was like, yeah, I think I should try that one. But I tell you, we come from a family, you know, our family was extremely poor. I don't know whether you know poverty. You know, there are two things. There is poor a supermarket. The kid was there buying, I think they were buying stuff, and the kid said, I want sweet. I want sweet. The mom was like, okay, let's buy this. No, my man. I felt like slapping this kid. You know, and it reminded me of my stories, you know. You look at, and then another time, I saw a professor being tortured by a 6-year-old at a restaurant. They were forcing the kid to eat sausage. Sausage is a luxury where I come from. The people were like, boo-boo, come and eat. I don't want to do. Then the kid takes one bite. Boo-boo, yeah. They are all excited. Terms and conditions apply. Where I was raised, if you are preparing, if you are serving food at 1 p.m., at a midday, you're monitoring and evaluating the situation. At what time are they serving the food? How many are present? How many are absent? You're doing calculations. We were so poor. We used to eat in turns. My father supper, mother lunch, then me breakfast, and then we alternate. Fasting was a serious issue. We were so poor that even poor people used to call us poor. You know what kind of honestly, even the nation was against us. I remember during one census, our household was jumped. We were not adding value to the nation. And you see, poverty is a mindset thing. Poverty is a what? The mindset. When you're in a poor situation, you have more questions than answers. I used to ask myself, are these my parents? Because the neighbors were eating. You have more questions than what? Answers. Try it one day. Get a kid from an established family, 5 years old, and one from a poor family. Ask them questions. Same questions. Ask a kid who's from an international school. What's your name? Letitia. And their names are always sweet. Shanaika, Letitia, Mama. But this kid is from the village. Their names are undecided. Then they what? You ask the kid. You ask a kid, what's your name? I'm Shanaka. How old are you? I'm 5 years old. What's your favorite food? Chips, chicken, and chips. Everything is a C. And you know they're like, get the other one from the village. Some questions. What's your name? Whatever you give them is what they eat. I'm telling you, I hate poverty. Neighbors work hard. I'm telling you, poverty. You know poverty affected my friendship. When we used to play hide and seek, nobody would look for me. Can you believe? Sometimes I would even volunteer and say, I am here. I'm telling you, I would volunteer and the guy pretends as if he hasn't seen me. I am telling you, and the problem with poverty, it doesn't stop there. It also manifests in your animals. Yes. It manifests in your animals. If you see a rich man's dog and a poor man's dog, they're different. A rich man's dog barks with confidence because it is sure what it's doing. You know, it even eats food from a supermarket. A rich man's dog barks with confidence.